The following is a live sports event featuring the Abernathy Antelopes or Ladylopes and is under the direction of AA Sports Properties in partnership with Abernathy ISD. This broadcast cannot be reproduced or retransmitted without the written consent of AA Sports Properties. Tonight's broadcast is made possible by the support of our generous sponsors: MC Master Roofing and Construction, South Plains Auto Ranch, First State Bank, Nutrient Ag Solutions, Abernathy First Baptist Church, Storm Guard, Clark Riley Insurance, Able Funeral Home and Flower Shop, Plains Land Bank, JC Refrigeration, Spradlin Spray Service, Vista Bank, Lambert Insurance, The Junkin Farmers Market, Ty Horsford Realtor, and DB Media. Buckle up and enjoy all of the exciting action with the Abernathy Antelopes and Ladylopes.
Rolando. This time he takes it himself, untouched, into the end zone. Rolando Martinez from 1 yard out, and the Abernathy Antelope strike first. Comes Michaela Marshall off the dribble. Mid-range jumper. Marshall gives Abernathy the lead. Now he hands it to Rolando. Burst of speed up the middle. Dagger! Touchdown! Superman! Now, second, stolen away at the corner. Flores. It's good! The Flores the steal and the three-pointer as time runs out. Flag comes in. The punt is blocked, and it's going to be an Antelope touchdown, barring the penalty, as it's Cash Garcia who blocked it, scooped it, and scored it. But well, good evening, Antelope Nation. Good evening, Abernathy, Texas, and fans of the Abernathy Antelopes and Ladylopes. It is Outside the Box, Episode 2, Week 2. Glad you were with us. Voice of the Antelopes, Ty Horsford here, alongside my compadre, Chance Rocha. And Chance, we've made it to Week 2.
Made it to week 2. Happy to be back with you. Sorry I left you inside the box by yourself on Friday. But
That's okay. Maybe you'll bring us some good luck when we head inside the box again this coming Friday. But glad to be back with you for another episode of Outside the Box again. It's our video podcast where we take a look at all things Abernathy. You're used to hearing us and seeing us inside the box on Friday nights. This is our weekly opportunity to take a step outside the box. And, of course, we're going to talk football. We're going to talk basketball. But we're also going to take a look at a lot of other things going on around Abernathy, the school system, the community. It's just an awesome time to do that and really highlight the place we know and love. And so glad to be here for Week 2. And let's go ahead and dive right in, Chance, and let's recap the Stratford football game this past Friday night. Obviously, we talked last week. We knew we were going to run into a buzzsaw in the Stratford Elks. They did not disappoint, the number one team in the state. They made it very, very difficult for the Antelopes as Stratford came to Abernathy and really got a pretty convincing win to the tune of 46-20. It was a game that Abernathy competed in early, made kind of a little bit of a run late, but then Stratford kind of flexed their muscles and pulled away in the final half quarter or so of that one. It was a game that Abernathy trailed, Chance, just 19-7 at the half. They were in it at that point, but really you just saw a Stratford, and this is what we talked about. The Elks, a team that would just try and they weren't going to be fancy. They were just going to grind, and wear you down. And that's really kind of what it felt, kind of like what happened on Friday night a little bit.
yeah, they were very disciplined on both sides of the ball. I mean, they did have a couple turnovers that Abernathy forced, but they weren't going to hurt themselves too much. And like you said, nothing fancy. Get up there, really run the ball, and they did most of this with their backup quarterback. And so, but not that he's any kind of slouch, but they did bring in their star, Bryce Baden, and he had a couple big runs and a couple big plays as well. But really, the turning point of that game, and you make play calls to try to flip the game on its head.
Sure.
And, Abernathy tried to come up with that fake punt. It didn't go our way right before the half. Stratford ends up scoring, and then they come back. We hold them to start the second half, and then they, go for the fake punt, and they get it. So just things like that can happen in a game that you go from trailing slightly to, them having a big lead just like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 14-point swing in the span of 2 possessions, and that makes a huge difference in the ball game. But credit Stratford. Give credit where it's due to the number 1 team in the state.
100%.
Around 500 yards of total offense for the Elks. It's not that the Antelopes did too bad. They had over 300 yards of offense themselves. They did some good things as well. Obviously, when you lose a game like that, everybody's disappointed. Everybody a lot of times focuses on those negative things, and there were things to work on. There is no doubt about it. It's the first game of the season. That's going to always be the case. But there are some things I think can talk about, Chance, and pull from that game, really on both sides of the ball, that you can take as positives moving forward to what's going to be another battle on Friday night when Abernathy hits the road and they go to Sunray. But you saw the potential, and we knew it because we saw it last season. Rolando Martinez in the backfield. He's a playmaker. He's got the opportunity to be big for you this year. 11 carries, 112 yards. I think it's vital that you keep him healthy, that you give him as many touches as you can for the Abernathy offense to be successful. And then you saw a quarterback in Jagger Wiley. The kid's a sophomore. Mm-hmm. It's his first ever start at the varsity level. He started maybe at JV and different things before. He did some good things as well. I mean, he threw a couple of touchdown passes. He tossed 223 yards. In your debut, that's not bad. I know there was a couple of interceptions in there, Chance, that Jagger would like to have back.
For sure.
But hey, for a sophomore coming out, he's going to only grow. He's going to only get better. And so there are some positive things to look at for this Antelope team.
Yeah, a lot of positives. Like you said, keeping Rolando healthy for sure is something that's key going into the season. But you want to make sure he's acclimated to the game. We wanted to get a lot of carries, but we don't want to wear him down before the season starts. And then with Jagger, the game speed from JV to varsity, that's a huge jump.
It is. It is.
And then just to have that, maybe not wait, but just to say, okay, I'm young guy on the team. Everybody's kind of looking at me and
to be the leader.
Kind of to be the leader of the offense, and we may run the ball. That may be, to open up the pass game, but also, you're making those decisions. You're putting the ball in the air. You're choosing the receiver to throw to and the looks to have. And so, did he throw a couple of interceptions? That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Name a quarterback who hasn't thrown an interception or two. But also to have a short memory and go out there and say, you know what, did I throw a couple of interceptions? Yeah, but also threw a 60-yard bomb.
Yeah.
And those are looks that, you see those flashes. Same thing from Rolando, a big game from Maverick Shadden too. Aaron Russell has the interception. You have the forced fumble by Jackson Arrington. So a lot of good things, like you said. Did we lose the game? Yeah. But as coach speak, we learn from things. If you're going to lose, let's learn.
Yeah.
And I think they did, and I think that's probably what a lot of film was like. Hey, let's clean this up, and the game could have gone a little bit different. Maybe we couldn't have won, but it may be a little bit closer of a game.
Yeah. Well, it's a game, Chance, too, that I think you fall down 32-7 after 3 quarters, and it would be easy to mail it in, to be done, to get beat 56-7 or something like that. Abernathy, within the span of a minute, early in the fourth quarter, finds the end zone twice. You've got the pick 6 by Russum, 30 yards back. That gives you a little momentum. You get a quick 3 and out on defense, and then you hit Shadden, Wiley does, for the 60-yard bomb. Yeah. And just like that, it's 32-20 with 6.5 minutes left, and you're a stop away for making the game really interesting down the stretch. Now, again, credit Stratford. It kind of angered the giant, if you will, and they brought in their stud, Bryce Braden, and he did what he does and went on about a 78-yard run that he stiff-armed a couple antelopes along the way, and he's just a beast.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to play somewhere at the next level is Bryce Braden. But, again, you lost. You knew that was a possibility going in. You want to get better. You want to grow from it. And I think this Abernathy team will do that. And I think there's enough positives you can pull away from the ball game, even in the loss, to have a little bit of optimism moving forward. Because Chance, like we mentioned, it doesn't get any easier.
No, it definitely doesn't. And I think kind of spinning, the positive for those kids, and even looking at things like, hey, let's improve on these things, and nothing major. Just protecting the ball and just finding some consistency and rhythm. And that also comes from play calling. Like you mentioned before, new OC coming in and kind of making some different plays. And then also understanding how Jagger fits in the game, how he fits getting Trejo the ball and giving Shadden the ball. And that was another positive that I saw. He wasn't just keying on one guy. He was spreading the ball around to multiple different guys. And so, and we saw some of those other young guys catch some passes as well. So,
well, and you've got to play better defense on third down. You did a good job defensively holding Stratford to third down, even third down and long in multiple situations, and then they would come up with a big pass play or a big run and just keep drives alive. And our defense was on the field a lot, and they just kind of got worn down and exhausted as the game went along.
Yeah, and credit to them, like you said. That's what's going to happen when you play a veteran team like Stratford. But credit to the Antelopes; they battled all the way to the end. And I think it's going to teach them a lot moving forward into this next week against Sunray for sure. So
yeah, absolutely. And Chance, you talked about it last week that this district was going to be a district of doom that the Antelopes are going to compete in, District 2A Division I district. But tell you what, the district didn't disappoint because you're the only team that lost on Friday night out of district. There were a couple impressive performances from other teams in our district.
Yeah, for sure. You had New Deal playing Farwell, who actually Abernathy will be playing later this week 4 of the season. So they had a big win against them, 34-20. New Home, kind of the game of the week here in the South Plains. Got up big on Lubbock Cooper Patriots or Lubbock Cooper Liberty. And that's a 4A Division II school. So that's a pretty big jump for them. Yes, they do only have freshmen and sophomores on that team.
They got a lot more kids.
They do, and so for New Home to go out there and they put it on them early and held on to that lead, and they won a tight one, 21-20. And then Philadelphia, Olton, and Post, all kind of rounded out with victories. Post actually with a big victory over Kermit, 52-6. So, like you said, going in, we're the only team that's lost in our district so far. But that's what we talked about it last week as well. If you're going to lose, make it be in the preseason.
We're the only team that also played the number 1 team in the state. So you can look at that as well. But, hey, talked about it last week. I love that Wiley put together the non-conference, non-district schedule that he did because Abernathy's going to be prepared come around district play.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, that's a quick recap of kind of what Stratford looked like. I know many of you were there. There was a big crowd at the ball game. Hopefully, if you were not there, you were able to tune in and watch us. But we'll continue to talk football a little later in the program as we look ahead to the Sunray Bobcats. But these episodes, these podcasts, these games would not be possible without some of our sponsors. And so I want to take a couple minutes to thank a few of those guys, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look around AISD this week. And we've got some cool interviews coming up, so stick with us. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Spradlin Spray Services. Danik Spradlin is a local leader in aerial and spray services and has been meeting the needs of local farmers for a long time. A staple in the Abernathy community, Spradlin Spray Services is ready to meet your aerial spraying needs today. We are a proud supporter of Abernathy's young people and are wishing the Lopes and the Lady Lopes the very best of luck on and off the field this season.
At StormGuard, we provide experts you can count on. Sit back, relax, and let StormGuard take care of your home. If you're experiencing roof issues, let our qualified team of professionals repair or restore your roof. We work directly with your insurance company to make the process easy for you, and inspections are always free. At StormGuard, we are wishing the Lady Lopes and Lopes the best of luck this season.
And welcome back, Antelope Nation, back inside the box on outside the box. Does that work? I'm used to saying welcome back to inside the box, and I kind of caught myself there. But Outside the Box, episode 2. It's the section of the program where we take a look around Abernathy ISD, or sometimes it'll even be around the community.
For sure.
And Chance, well, we had a couple of cool conversations this week with some different folks in town surrounding the awesome FFA, 4-H, and ag programs that we have here in Abernathy.
Yeah, we did. And, we kind of talked about it last week in our first episode. And the big thing that we shared was that in a small town, everybody kind of does everything. And we share kids, and we want to make sure that we're having a positive impact on them. And that was one of the things. We interviewed the Hale County Extension Agent, Andy Hart, who happens also to be the husband of our middle school principal, Ollie Hart. And so tight-knit community here, and he had a lot of positive things. Don't want to kind of put too much out there, but just kind of let y'all know he was just speaking very highly of Abernathy, of Hale County, of our ag department, our FFA department, and the 4-H program that we have here, and just all it does for the kids. So pretty exciting interview.
Yep, let's take a listen to what Andy Hart had to say about our ag programs here in Abernathy and in Hale County.
Andy, good morning, number one.
Good morning.
Thanks for doing this for us. We kind of talked to you a little bit off camera about how we're highlighting some different areas here in Abernathy and some things that in the community that are important, not only just to the community as a whole, but to our young students and the generation that's coming up. So we wanted to kind of visit with you. Number one, kind of talk to us about your role for Hale County and what that entitles.
Okay. Well, appreciate the opportunity to get to talk about AgriLife Extension today, as well as 4-H. So I'm the Ag Extension Agent here in Hale County. So I work primarily with livestock-related projects, not only in 4-H, but also adult. We do adult programming with livestock. And in Abernathy and in Hale County, my focus is working with the youth in 4-H, not only with their show projects, their livestock projects, but we have a variety of other things that kids are really involved in, such as livestock quiz bowl and livestock judging, livestock skillathon. We have a really big meats judging program. Those are things that I help with. We've got other things that are fixing to start here in 4-H this month with food challenge and other things that lots of kids participate in. And so we've got a lot going on in Hale County right now, a lot of participation here in Abernathy from these kids. One thing that I really enjoy about 4-H and about the community of Abernathy is we work really close with the local ag teachers. So there is a difference between 4-H and FFA, but we try not to make it obvious. We partner on a lot of the things we do together. We share our kids. We train each other's kids. We try to make sure that we make their program better and they make our program better. So we try not to divide kids. We try to share and make each other's programs more successful.
Andy, that's the second person we've kind of talked to that has mentioned sharing kids. And I think when you have such a small community like that, you want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to partner together. And I kind of hear some of that from you.
You bet.
You don't want to step on toes. You want to say, how can we be successful in all these avenues? And so that's awesome that y'all do that. So, you mentioned, making sure that they're being successful in all those different areas. What kind of skills do you feel like these programs allow these students to learn?
There's all kinds of skills that kids learn through being a 4-H and FFA. In my opinion, the best thing that they learn is public speaking. I think it's critical that kids learn to be able to represent themselves, whether it's in a job interview or a scholarship interview or just defending themselves in life. So public speaking is probably the best thing that I think kids get through our program. But lots of life skills they get. They learn about responsibility. They learn about character. They learn about taking care and being a team player. So a variety of life skills that will make them a better person down the road.
That's exciting, yeah. It's in today's generation with all the technology, public speaking is probably not something that a lot of them are very comfortable with going into right off the bat. But that is something that is very key because they're going to have to visit with people or, like you said, job interviews, anything later in life. So that's interesting. That's number one. Growing up, I was in FFA and I did Creed speaking. And so that was one of the things that I never thought I would do it. My ag teacher was like, you have a good voice, you're doing it. And I was like, sounds good. But I attribute that to someone pushing me, similar to how you and our ag department push some of those kids. You see something that's a skill that they may be successful in and kind of nudging them and pushing them in that direction. what are things when you look at both of the programs, FFA and 4-H, what are things that I think y'all are excited about all of them, but what are some that y'all are pretty proud of here in Abernathy?
Well, a variety of different things. Right now, just to throw it out there, we had 3 kids that won their state 4-H record book this year from Abernathy, and those kids will get to go during Thanksgiving week. They'll get to go to Washington, D.C. for a 4-H leadership trip. We also have Sydney Miller. She applied and was accepted to go to National 4-H Congress during Thanksgiving week, and that'll be in Atlanta, Georgia. So I think those are great opportunities. As I mentioned earlier, meets judging is something we really focus on here, and we have a tradition here in Hale County. That's one that we're pretty proud of in both 4-H and FFA. I would say also, particularly with Miss Neers and FFA, Science Fair has been a really big opportunity that they've taken advantage of. In FFA, they've sent several kids to nationals and won nationals and done very well. So I think Science Fair and meets judging may be the 2 top programs that I'm the most proud of here for Abernathy 4-H and FFA.
That's exciting. Those 2 things. What age group do they kind of start that meet judging in the 4-H?
In 3rd grade. So we're very fortunate here in Hale County. Wendy Warner kind of helped get this program started back for meets judging since she's taken a job and doesn't have that doesn't allow her as much time. So Tate Corliss has started helping us, and with his expertise of training the Clarendon Judging College team that they just won the international contest in Australia, and his working at Texas Tech Raider Red Meets is a great advantage to us. So he really helps us and starts training those kids. We got about 25 to 30 kids that do it from 3rd all the way through 12th grade.
That's exciting. That's definitely pretty cool that they can start that young. It's not something they have to wait to get into high school to do this kind of thing. So that's exciting. Andy, I know there's something big coming up this weekend, the Purple Banner Bash. Can you kind of elaborate on what that means, not just for Abernathy and Hale County, but what it means to all the kids that are going to be participating this weekend?
Well, this is an awesome fundraiser that we do for Abernathy Ag Boosters, and it's just one of the many fundraisers we do for Abernathy Ag Boosters, but it's a way for people to be able to give back to the kids. All the money raised from this event will go to help purchasing the Abernathy 4-H and FFA kids' livestock projects at the Hale County Stock Show. And so we appreciate all the local businesses that have bought tickets and tables that plan to show up and participate in the event. We'll have some live auction and some silent auction items that we'll be auctioning off there. And this is just a great way to raise money, to show support for the kids. And we're going to have a great steak dinner that Dr. Dale Warner is cooking for us, and he's amazing at doing that. So it's going to be a great meal. We've got a good band coming. So it's going to be a really good time had for all. But the most important thing is we're here to support the kids and to make sure that they're successful in all the things they do.
Awesome, Andy. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. And hopefully we have a good weekend at the Purple Banner Bash.
We appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Todd, Andy, just, that interview, what it spoke to me about just FFA and 4-H is they just talked about the importance of just preparing our kids again and kind of highlighting some of the things that our admin, last week Tate talked about. And I think for me, just hearing how young they start them, I mean, they can start meat judging in 3rd grade.
I know.
That's pretty exciting, and just all the programs that they have. And he just mentioned that you want to make sure that we're being cohesive together with the ag department, with the FFA, and they want 4-H to kind of be a vault into that. And, it was just very uplifting to kind of hear all the positive things that they have coming up, and all the people that are coming out to support the bash this coming weekend and all the good things it does for the community. So, and I know you had a chance to kind of visit with a couple boys that are part of some of those programs, and kind of tell us a little bit about that, Ty.
I'll tell you what, Chance, I had a blast hanging out for a little bit with Bo and Tack Holder, both members of our local 4-H club in Abernathy, very involved in livestock showing and some different 4-H competitions. And my biggest takeaway in talking to those kids, most kids their age would be scared to death to be on camera for an interview. And I don't mean this bad, but a lot of kids their age have no interest in having a eye contact, face-to-face conversation with an adult that they don't even really know. But man, I was blown away at their professionalism. I was blown away at how well they spoke. They were gentlemen. They were polite. And I thought that was the epitome of what 4-H or FFA or these different ag programs, what they represent.
Yeah, for sure.
They grow good humans. And that was one of the biggest things that stood out to me in my interview with Tack and Bo Holder. And I think you're going to love it. I think you're going to enjoy it. So I don't want to steal any of their thunder because they did an incredible job. And so let's hear what Bo and Tack had to say and about the impact that these programs have had on them. Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. We are here with Bo and Tack Holder. They are proud members of the local 4-H community here in Abernathy. And just wanted to kind of talk to them a little bit today about the importance that 4-H has played in their life and the opportunities that it's given them. And first of all, Bo and Tack, just tell me a little bit, how long have you been involved in programs through 4-H and other ag-related opportunities through the school?
So I've been involved in 4-H. I am going into my 8th year this year, and I've been in it. So in kindergarten, they do a thing called Clover Kids, and it's a thing that 4-H does, and it's kindergarten through 2nd grade. And then my summer of 2nd grade, I was eligible to compete in 4-H events and competitions.
Awesome, awesome. And what about you?
I'm starting my 6th year in 4-H, and just like Bo said, I started in Clover Kids, which is kinder through 2nd grade. And then when I get older in high school, I get to do FFA.
Awesome, awesome. That'll be fun. And for those of you that don't know, FFA is a program that starts once you get into high school. So what is you guys' favorite thing about being involved in 4-H?
So mine is probably stock showing because of the relationships I'm able to build and create with each of my animals. Some of these are fun and enjoyable, while others, they have really taught me about patience and sticking things through when times get tough.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Tack, what about you? What's some of your favorite things about 4-H?
Like Bo said, so we stock show with our steers, heifers, and pigs, and we travel all around the state and country. And that builds an opportunity to meet different people, some my age, some older, and some younger.
Awesome, awesome. Well, what kind of impact do you feel like that these programs and opportunities have had on you? I know you've still got some years left, but so far, what kind of impact have these programs had on you?
So 4-H has really taught me about, it's really helped me grow my financial literacy skills, my responsibility, and just overall my leadership skills. It's really improved that too.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. What about you, Tack?
The main part, I think, is leadership. It's really made me grow in leadership.
That's awesome. Yeah, very cool, very cool. Well, last question for you guys today. What skills do you feel like you've learned from being involved in these programs, whether it's showing animals or other parts of 4-H? What do you feel like you have learned from being involved in these programs?
I've learned self-confidence and public speaking, and that'll grow even more come FFA. And I really suggest that y'all join 4-H.
Yeah.
It's really made an impact for the better.
That's awesome. What about you, Tack?
I think time, so whenever you lose track of time, 4-H really helps with that.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today on Outside the Box. Sounds like you guys are a huge asset to 4-H and to Abernathy in general. So thank you guys so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. And that was, again, Bo and Tack Holder, local members of the 4-H. And hope you loved that interview as much as I did giving it, because it was a joy to talk to them. And again, just there's so many other students like them that are involved in our 4-H and FFA programs. And I was talking to their mom before the interview, Brandy, as well. And I said, you know what? If you want to get your kid a college scholarship, forget basketball, forget football, sign them up for the 4-H and the FFA, because, man,
talk about a program or programs that really bolster kids from the high school level into college and into the workplace and prepare them for success.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just seeing those two young men, Bo and Tack, they kind of did everything and presented themselves just the way Andy was talking about. The number one thing he said that he thought was important was public speaking, because of kind of the atmosphere. We live in a digital world. We live in all these things, and that's something that's important.
Yeah,
shaking people's hands, looking them in the eye, and just being respectful to that, and being able and being confident to do that. And so, great programs they have. So if you haven't checked them out, check them out. 4-H, local FFA, and then check out the Purple Banner Bash that they're having this weekend too.
Yep,
So,
absolutely. Any opportunity you get to support those guys. We both were in FFA. I know one of the highlights of my career in school was livestock shows and doing that whole jazz, and those are memories I wouldn't give for. Just a special time. So shout out to those guys. Thanks to Andy. Thanks to Bo and Tack for joining us on the program today. Let's take one final timeout. Thank a couple more sponsors of our Outside the Box, and we will come back and take a quick look ahead at the Sunray Bobcats for the football team, and we will also
highlight some
other things going on around the school as well. So stick with us, and we will be back here shortly. DB Media specializes in all things audio, video, and lighting. From designs and installs tailored to your commercial application, to concerts and corporate events, and even studio recording and mixing for bands and artists, DB Media has you covered. DB Media is a proud supporter of the Abernathy Antelopes and Ladylopes this season. For over 100 years, Plains Land Bank has specialized in financing rural property. We are passionate about agriculture and ensuring that producers are successful. Your land is more than just your livelihood, it's your legacy, and we want to see it grow for generations to come. Let us help you own a piece of Texas. Come visit our Plainview office today or give us a call at 806-296-5579. At Plains Land Bank, we are a proud supporter of our West Texas High School student athletes. And welcome back for the final segment of our Outside the Box, Episode 2. Chance, both cross-country and volleyball teams were in action this past weekend, and had a brief conversation with cross-country coach Carrie Carlisle earlier today. She's really pleased with where the cross-country team is headed. They're a couple of meets into their young season now. Abernathy's always got a good track and cross-country program. And just to highlight some results from that meet this past Saturday, they were running out in the cotton fields of Acuff, Texas, out at the Roosevelt meet. But on the boys' side, you had Noah Rigler. He finished 8th place in the varsity boys. And then on the girls' side, you had Natalie Maldonado. She came in 3rd in the meet. And Gabby Cruz, she came in 13th in the meet. So shout out to those cross-country runners for doing a great job representing Abernathy well. They've got a big meet this weekend. Their first, I believe, meet that's at May Simmons. That's if you're at all familiar with cross-country in West Texas, you know the hill at May Simmons.
Yeah.
And so a big meet for them coming up. Go out and support them on Saturday. Varsity girls run at 10, varsity boys at 10:30, and then the JV girls will run at noon, again at May Simmons Park in Lubbock this coming Saturday. Go support those cross-country runners if you can.
For sure. And also, we had some action this past week. We kind of talked about volleyball and highlighted them as well in our first episode. And big wins this past week for the junior high girls. They played Olton on Tuesday, and they came up big with those wins. Both the 7th and 8th grade won. Varsity competed in the tournament out in Tulia. They're still growing. They're still young. We kind of talked about that, but still excited about what the season comes up to. This weekend, JV is playing in a tournament in Friona, and then next week, JV and Varsity will be playing Smire and Loop. So some things coming up, and then it's going to get busy, Ty. We got 7th and 8th grade football is also starting next week, and so and that kind of takes us in. Next week, a lot of teams are going to be playing, and let's kind of look forward to what we're coming up with on Friday.
Yeah, and we mentioned it already at the outside of the program. We talked about it last week for the varsity football team. The Lopes hit the road for the first time. If you thought that playing the number 1 team in the state in the Stratford Elks was tough, well, let's go on the road and play the number 8 team in the state in your division. Mm-hmm. The thing is, Stratford was a division below you. You're both 2A, but they're small school. You're big school. You're playing the number 8 team in the state in big school, Class 2A, in the Sunray Bobcats. You're making a long bus ride up there. It's going to be your longest road trip of the year. And again, maybe in a different way, Chance, it's going to be a much different look than what you got from Stratford. You talk about polar opposites, where Stratford is just grind it out, beat you at the line of scrimmage. I'm stronger than you. I'm going to push you around. Maybe a little more of a finesse look, and I don't mean that negatively at all.
No.
From the Sunray Bobcats. And if you don't know the name Armando Lujan, you need to learn the name Armando Lujan because he has put up video game-like numbers over the last couple of years. He's chasing records that Kyler Murray holds in the state of Texas as far as quarterbacks in passing goes. And he's the Dave Campbell's Class 2A cover boy this year. And Tell us a little bit what he did last year, Chance, because he just put up gaudy numbers.
Yeah, kind of speaking about chasing those Kyler Murray records. I mean, last year he did something that only Kyler Murray and one other quarterback in the state of Texas even. It's a number that you wouldn't even believe. I mean, he threw for about 4,200 yards.
I saw that, and I had to look if that was his career or just last season.
Yeah, 4,200 yards passing. Oh, and also he rushed for over 1,000 yards as well. And then total touchdowns, he had 82 total touchdowns, which actually tied Nick Gerber, another local boy here in Texas out in Levelland who actually went to play at West Texas A&M.
Yep.
And so, and he, that just kind of tells you the difference in their offenses, kind of like what you were saying between Stratford and what Sunray's going to bring. They're definitely going to spread it out, and they're going to try to sling the ball around. They're still going to run it, but they're definitely going to throw the ball. I mean, they threw the ball, almost 45 times this past week.
Yeah, Lujan completed 31 of 44 passes, 373 and 3 touchdowns. And they played a team that we're not familiar with at all.
No.
They played Hooker, Oklahoma. That's how far we've got to go on Friday, Chance. Yeah. We're going to almost be in the land of the Okies.
Yeah.
But look to that up today. Hooker, Oklahoma, one of the top Class 2A comparative programs in the state of Oklahoma.
Right.
And Hooker jumped out on top of Sunray 14-0. The Bobcats battle back. Eventually, they get a 30-28 win over Hooker, Oklahoma. So you've got 1-0 Sunray set to battle the 0-1 Antelopes. Also keep an eye on running back Arnold Mendoza. And it always scares you a little bit, Chance, when you play teams like this. You talk about Lujan. And then a guy like Mendoza lots you up for a big night because you focus so much on stopping their playmaker. They've got other guys that can do it too.
Yeah, they definitely do. And like I said, they're definitely going to air it out. I mean, they're going to probably throw the ball 3 times to every time, one time they run the ball. But that doesn't mean they're not going to run the ball. And also, they're coached well. Their staff is great. And so what they're going to do is find Antelope's weakness and kind of see what their game plan is going to be. But they're probably going to rely heavily on the arm of Lujan and even the legs of Lujan coming into this game. So
yeah, absolutely. And when you talk about things Abernathy is going to need to do to be successful against a team like Sunray, you're going to have to find some rhythm on offense. Some of that, like you like to call it, Chance, antelope magic.
That's it.
Figure out who the guy is that's going to step up and make a play. And one thing I thought you saw a lot of against Stratford, your defense was on the field a lot. Your offense had lots of short drives that didn't take up much time. And you need to get first downs. You need to move the ball. You need to extend drives and stretch the game out a little bit if you can. And I think that's one thing you need to do in order to be successful. You mentioned it. You've got to stop the air attack.
Yeah.
I mean, that's plain and simple. You're not going to stop Lujan. You've got to limit Lujan.
Yeah.
You can't let him just single-handedly beat you and then play a complete game.
Yeah. I mean, on both sides of the ball, you kind of mentioned, getting the offense to be in rhythm to keep the defense off the field. Well, guess what? If the defense is off the field, Lujan's off the field as well. And so those two things kind of go hand in hand. And, even if you don't come out on top, we want to see the maroon and white come out on top for sure. But as long as you can go in there and compete for 4 quarters, and like you said, limit Lujan and find some rhythm and really kind of get into a groove and kind of figure out what our offensive identity is, and then see who that playmaker on defense is going to be and who's going to kind of carry us into the rest of the season, moving into district play.
Yeah, so if you can't make the trip to Sunray, we will be back inside the box on Friday night, and this time Chance will be inside the box.
I will.
As we make the long trip to Sunray. If you've got any good places to eat between here and Sunray, send them to us.
Yeah.
We'll be looking for something on the road. But again, excited about going and playing somebody different. Excited about the good competition. Hopefully Abernathy goes. And again, we talk about it, Chance. Especially at this point in the season, compete. 100%. And you can pull positive things from that. If you win, we all want to win.
Yeah, you play to win.
Absolutely.
That's the motto,
right? Shout out to Jagger Wiley, my daughter and son's Antelope buddy. He stopped by the house before the game today and brought him a little football, and the football had PTW on it. And Parker asked, "What does that mean?" I said, "Girl, it is play to win.
That's it.
You play to win the game."
That's right.
But again, you want to compete.
For sure.
And you want to see these guys continue to grow. You want to see them continue to get better.
100%. And Ty, I think that, going out there, not only is this going to be our longest road trip, but also being able to see 2 totally different types of offensive early in the season, because we're going to see multiple different facets in our district this year too, as well. Yep. And so being able to see some of this tough competition, likely a playoff team, and a team that if we, go in and win district, we may be facing Sunray later on down in the season. So
yeah, they were a state semifinalist a year ago. I think it was Albany, if I'm not mistaken, that eliminated them in the playoffs, the eventual state champion. Mm-hmm. So first 2 weeks of the year, I wonder if there's anyone else in the state that has played back-to-back state semifinalists to open the season, but hey, we have. Yeah, the Antelopes have. But again, should be a fun one come Friday night in Sunray, Texas. We'll have all the action for you beginning around 6:45. Chance, we're gearing up. Next week, we'll have episode 3 of Outside the Box, and really excited what we're going to get into on the program next week as well.
Yeah, for sure. Next week, kind of a similar format. We're going to recap the Sunray game. Hopefully we're coming back with a big W. So we'll recap that, things we learned from the team, and what to look at moving forward. Highlight some volleyball, highlight some cross country again, and then kind of preview what's coming up for Abernathy on Friday and Thursday and all the other sports. But we also do have some more fun interviews, Ty. We got some last-minute confirmations from a couple of folks here in town, and we're going to talk to our elementary school counselor, Miss Amy Magianis. So she's had some awesome things going in the elementary this year, some things me and Ty are a part of, a lot of other men in the community are a part of. But, we'll kind of leave that for next week, but kind of wanted to preview that. And then we're going to talk to our second-year assistant principal, Cash Fortune, who is also a coach here in town.
Who has, like, the best name in the entire world.
Yeah.
Cash, or maybe outside of his son.
Yeah.
Chasing Fortune.
Exactly.
Love it. Love it.
But we're going to talk to him a little bit about, his role as assistant principal, and then kind of highlight the junior high season starting, what they're excited about, and, what it means to be a coach and to be a coach of your son, and it being the first season for his son this year too. So some exciting things to come. So we hope y'all tune in next week for Outside the Box,
and
8:30.
Until then, it will be Inside the Box on Friday night, 6:45 pregame, 7 o'clock kickoff in Sunray. It's the 8th-ranked Bobcats and your Abernathy Antelopes. Can't make the trip, tune us in right here on our YouTube channel. And as always, good night.
God bless.
And go Lopes.